Thank you, Colwyn. Good evening and welcome to tonight's regional news. We now start with a story coming out of Jamaica. A recommendation has been made to the Parliament of Jamaica to criminalize the act of alerting suspects that they are under scrutiny. The recommendation was made by St. Andrew's Southern Member of Parliament Mark Golding and supported by Justice Minister Delroy Chuck. The members further proposed that if the person who committed tipping off offense is in a position of trust, this is to be construed as an aggravating factor for which the court could escalate penalties. The original proposal from the National Security Minister was that there should be an additional term of imprisonment of 10 years for people in positions of power, such as law enforcement, members of the judiciary, and political directorate, but members argued against naming particular categories of persons in the law. National Security Minister and Chairman of the committee, Dr. Horace Chang, said he was in favor of increasing the penalty because stiffer fines should be a deterrent to anyone who is involved in tipping of gangs. And now we move on to news from Chile. Chile's Air Force yesterday said one of its cargo planes had crashed with 38 people on board after going missing in an isolated area between South America and the Antarctic, with a chance of finding survivors looking difficult. The Hercules C-130 aircraft took off at 4:55 p.m. on Monday from the southern city of Punta Arenas in Chilean Pantoja and was heading to the base in Antarctica. But controllers lost contact with the plane shortly after 6 p.m. The Air Force said in a statement that it had yet to locate the plane but had concluded that the plane must have crashed, given the number of hours it had been missing. The Defense Minister Alberto Espino added that the hope for finding survivors was fading. The plane was carrying 17 crew members and 21 passengers, the Air Force said. And finally, in tonight's regional news, we turn to a story from Trinidad and Tobago. It was a case of deja vu for the hundreds of Venezuelans who, as they did back in May when they first went to register, lined up for hours outside the immigration department in Port of Spain to collect the government-issued cards authorizing them to legally work and live in Trinidad and Tobago for a year. The National Security Minister had stated the Immigration Department is now authorized to deliver the cards, and yesterday, hundreds flocked to the department at Government Plaza Richmond Street, several with babies in arms, hoping to be the first in line for the permits. Immigration Division staff were available to ensure the collection of registration cards went smoothly and provide general instructions. However, the process still took all day, leaving many Venezuelans tired, frustrated, and still without their cards. In order to collect the permits, recipients must present a receipt given to them on registration, as well as a valid ID document, a statement from the National Security stated. The statement also said no one can collect a card on behalf of someone else, as everyone must sign for their card. National Security Minister Stuart Young said in October that more than 10,000 of the 16,532 Venezuelans who applied to register were successful. Young told Parliament then that more than 8,000 cards had been prepared for those who qualified. And that was all for tonight's regional news. Back to you, Colwyn.